Alright, hello everybody, this is Edward Pivos for MLive, and I am checking out the first cruise ship of the season. Docked in Detroit. This is the Viking Octantis. 665 feet long. Now look at this location here as I back up. It couldn't be in a better location. Right across from Windsor, obviously. Right next to the GM Rensen. Along the Detroit Riverwalk. And there's the name, the Viking Octantis. High-end cruise ship, 665 foot long. It's on a Great Lakes cruise where it will head to Alpena tomorrow. And it's one of two Viking ships which will be docked in Detroit. The sister ship, the Polaris, by the way, they were both built last year in 2002, will be here at the end of the month on May 31st, and right next to the Rensen. Look at that. So passengers get off here. They do excursions in Detroit. I looked at the itineraries. Some of the excursions they can do are the DIA, the Henry Ford Museum as well. And on a Viking cruise, excursions are included. I'm going to walk around the outside of the ship a little bit here. We went on board this last year when it came here for the first time, made its maiden voyage here in Detroit last May. So they have 10-day Great Lakes itineraries and 8-day Great Lakes itineraries, and they go to Alpena, Mackinac Island. So the 10-day starts in Toronto, goes to some places in Canada, including Niagara Falls, goes to Cleveland, Detroit, Alpena, Mackinac Island, the Soo Locks, again, a number of places in Ontario, Thunder Bay, and then ends at Duluth, Minnesota. And that's a $12,000 cruise for 10 nights. This one is an 8-day Great Lakes cruise. The other itinerary starts in Toronto, ends up in Milwaukee, and goes to the Welland Canal, Point Pelee, Ontario, again, Detroit, Alpena, Mackinac Island. This is, there are 378 guests maximum on this ship. Again, the Viking Octantis docked in Detroit for the first time of the season. Docked here last year for the first time, so you have a real nice, decent-sized cruise ship that sails around the Great Lakes. 378 guests maximum on the ship. 256 crew member. So the 8-day cruise is about $6,000 a person. That's where it starts. 10-day is about $12,000. On a Viking ship, you have all your drinks included, obviously meals on cruise ships. You have your excursions included as well. And we went on board last year. I guess a lot of people on this ship have never been to Detroit, never been to Michigan. We met a lot of people from Texas, California, places like that. A lot of retirees on the ship. And it's docked in Detroit for the day. And some of the excursions they're going to are the Henry Ford Museum. They're doing some architectural tours. The Detroit Institute of Arts is an option as well. Again, this is right next, if you want to come out and check it out, it's right next to the Renaissance Center at the Port of Detroit. And here's the entrance where cruise passengers come back onto the ship. Viking Octantis, the sister ship, the Polaris, will be here at the end of the month. Again, cruising the Great Lakes. There's 6 decks on this ship, by the way. 6 decks on the Viking Octantis. And last year was parked at the Nicholson, which is like miles down the road on the other side of the Ambassador Bridge. There's the Detroit Princess, by the way, in the distance there. If you can see it in the middle of your screen. Detroit Princess Riverboat Cruise. So it's right by that. So those of you who are familiar with Detroit and the Port of Detroit and where the Renaissance Center is and things like that. So the Viking Octantis, 665 foot long, 378 passenger maximum. This is a high-end cruise, you know, goes to places like Antarctica, things like that. They have submarines on the ship they use for excursions and boats. They have a whole hangar. And as you can see in the distance, there's the Ambassador Bridge. And we're on the Detroit Riverwalk, which, by the way, was voted the #1 Riverwalk in the United States. So there you go, the first cruise ship of the season, the Viking Octantis, and its sister ship will be docking at the end of the month, the Polaris. And here's our first look at it. Beautiful. You don't see a lot of cruise ships in a city, but this will be going to Cleveland. That's on the itinerary. Alpena, Mackinac Island, number of places in Canada. That is the Great Lakes itinerary. There's 2 of them. There's a 10-day and an 8-day. The 10-day starts at $12,000 a person. The 8-day starts at about $6,000 a person. So I wanted to give you guys a nice glimpse of this. It's a beautiful cruise ship, brand new last year. Same with the sister ship built last year. Viking Octantis. Docked in Detroit for the day. So again, if you want to come out, it's right by where the Detroit Princess is, right near Hart Plaza. I'll give you one last look. We're going to go to the other side of it here. See a lot of people jog on the Riverwalk here. I've been here for 5 minutes and I've seen tons of joggers. #1 Riverwalk in the country, voted by USA Today readers. And there's the Detroit Princess, by the way, in the background there, as I mentioned, and the Ambassador Bridge. Now, it was parked. Oh my gosh, I can see where it was parked last time. Way in the distance. I'm going to put my finger. The Babilo Island port, right about there. You can't really see it, but I can see it with my naked eye. That's where this ship was parked last year, where it still says Babilo Island, the sign on it. Way down there. And there you go, the Viking Octantis. Look at people sprinting on the Riverwalk, just having some good times. A little chilly out here, folks. You haven't been outside today. A little chilly. But again, this is docked here all day. If you want to check it out, get some pictures. It's in a much better location than last year. Last year it was in a kind of a private dock area, and then at Nicholson, and you couldn't really see it very well. But here we have a great view of it. And it's right next to the GM Rensen, very visual. And there you go. Hope you guys have enjoyed a little glimpse of the Viking Octantis, which is docked here all day along the Riverwalk. There's Caesar's Windsor right there, right dead center middle of your screen, across the Detroit River in Canada. And the Viking Octantis. Big, beautiful cruise ship. Sailing the Great Lakes. It'll be here all summer with multiple Great Lakes itineraries. So again, I am Edward Pivos reporting for MLive here along the Detroit Riverwalk outside of Hart Plaza and the GM Rensen, looking at the Viking Octantis.